Hey guys, Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training, and Jezzie, who's getting really used to that intro right there. As soon as I say it's almost like ready, and you go onto the field, which we'll give her later on. Now, we're talking about Marco, the male, and Jezzie, the female, out of the same litter. And I was talking about with Marco how it's kind of a throwback, and what I'm seeing in Jezzie, Dabu, good. Dabu, good. She doesn't know it at all, so I'm just going to stay here. Good girl, Dabu, good. That's good girl, Dabu. And I can start working on this change of position with her soon. But she reminds me a lot of Rocks. Same temperament. Easy going. She's a thinker. Good. And her body's just a lot like what her mom's going to be like. Good. She has no clue, so I'm going to help her out and stay there. Good. There you go. And I'll teach her the word Dabu, and we'll start doing change of positions, I think, with her, because she's so smart. She's a thinker. Yep. She's not as speedy as Marco, and her drive states are totally different, male and female. He's all drive, boy. Females are just different. Can she do the job on the street just like a male? Sure she can. She'll have a bite, and being a female is different than a male. And most of the people, there's more males because we're attracted to that drive and their tenacity in regards to that, how fast they do things and how heavy they are with their genetic hormones that put a man down, right? When they're working the street, they got to be able to do their job. But a female has all that too. It's a different drive state. With this one anyway, I'm sure we get, a lot of times we get females that are real strong and have all that. You need to get your nails clipped, baby. We're going to do that today, I think. Clip nails, mess with their teeth, do some other things. I need to do it with Marco too. Start letting him get used to getting handled in regards to that. I've had a couple of these dogs that came out of my old litters with Arrow and Rocks that actually ended up starting to go sideways and bite their owners, two of them specifically. And the cases involved were so similar, it was funny because they live across the country from each other. But I analyzed it. I worked with Bane. You remember Bane? I came in, I was doing alpha rolls and pretty dominant with what I was doing. I was trying to put him in his place because his problem was that I assessed over time working with him was a bottom line of relationship dynamic. His owner had never really got into forcing him to look at his teeth and let me see your paws and messing with that and doing things that asserted the dominance within their relationship. And I've talked about that before. We hear that word dominance. We don't have to be abusive with it, guys. We just have to have the proper relationship that says, I'm the boss. I'm the one that I can do anything I want to with you. And you raise them that way, so they have a proper relationship dynamic with you. You get these Dutch Shepherds and you don't do that, you're going to have a problem. There's a trainer up in Canada by the name of Haz. I won't say the name of his business, but he had a dog that he got imported over from Europe as a Dutch Shepherd. He worked with him, he placed him with an owner, and the dog ended up being in the garage one day and all of a sudden looked at the owner and growled at him and boom, went off on him and tore the owner up. And that was because of relationship dynamic. You have to remember that when you're trying to place a dog with a customer, you're there to educate and teach them, but if they don't take it into their lifestyle, you're going to have a problem. And I'll give you a good example of that. I've got Buddy, and you guys have seen Buddy before. I raised him up from a puppy. He's still with me. I'm going to be taking him to a Justin Rigney seminar coming up. Eric Good and Justin Rigney over at Oscar Morris Place in January. So he's been stuck in the kennel, and he's getting kennel sour, and all that energy level is getting bottled up. And so I took him out just recently to see how he was, and I started playing a game, an old door routine that I did when I was a kid with my first Shepherd, where I had the dog geared up to going off on anybody that came to the door, knock, knock, knock. I would hold the dog back on the collar, and then the dog would be allowed to lunge and go crazy like he's going to eat the person. Then I taught the dog to have a release word, go be friendly, and the dog would just calm down. It was all contextual. He knew the pattern, knew the routine. The problem is, be careful what you ask for, because what happened, and I just realized my mic is off, I think. Let me double check it. And if it is, we got a problem. We got to read it. Dang it. Nope, we're good. Okay, so there's times I've sat here and yacked for 20, 30 minutes, then find out my mic wasn't turned on or something was a problem with the sound. All right, so my first shepherd I did as a kid, I set up a door routine where nobody could come in my house, not even my best friend, without my dog going off on them. And knock, 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 dog would be going to eat them. And then they would come into the house. And I would, after I say free hun, put out your hand, free hun, dog would go into the house, the people would come over to visit, and the dog would be fine because he knew the pattern, the routine that I trained him to do. Now, when they would go to leave, I would grab them by the collar and I'd let them run the door. And a lot of my friends would help me and tease them and boom, slam the door and they'd gone. The reason I did that is I set up psychological deterrent. With everybody I knew, it didn't matter who you were. My best friend, it didn't matter. You didn't come over to my house and just walk in my house. You had to go through this routine. And that set up psychological deterrent. But be careful what you ask for. It got dangerous. That dog would start going, and if he heard that voice tone, just like you hear me saying to her, all right, guys, and boom, she gets right away fired up. That's because contextual, the same things happen, right? So that being the case, it didn't get too bad. That was a German Shepherd. Now let's go back to talking about Buddy. The other day, I've got a big old fence line here in this 10 acres of property I've got. So I decided I wanted him to start being out in the yard and covering it when I leave the house and everything. So I started doing the same routine with him where I fire the dog up and I tell them, I do the same thing with my truck. If I get them around and I say PA, their bark word, I'm turning on and off that alarm system. That dog fires up, and you don't want to get near my truck when I do that because I've trained him to protect the truck. So, I'm doing it with the fence line. So I went out, I had Buddy out in the yard. He didn't know what was going to happen the first time. And I started firing him up and I gave him his bark word and I was the teasing, right? And he fired up, and dogs are very prone to having a very keen aggression behind a fence. It's just something that's a hard wiring in a dog. And there's trainers right now that are using that, and they're going over that aspect, and they're using it for the development of their dog to channel drives towards the aggression levels that they want and all kinds of things that benefits in their training. And I've got friends of mine that have a half fence, and we put a fence out there and we do a bark routine behind the fence. It's not something that's new. But this person, I think it's Eric Good, matter of fact, he's got a podcast that he did, and they were talking about it, where he's putting it overall into his training program. More power to him. It works. And he's got himself going in that regards, and he's accenting that aspect of it, right? So the same thing with that fence. So I turned Buddy on. He hit the fence. Now, within a few days, it's going to start diminishing. I got to put my training hat on and really get him doing things, because it gets dangerous, because even though he's my dog, he is a hard wiring within these dogs. He gets right into whatever that hard wiring is, and he's going to do it. So I started to go slide that gate shut, and Buddy's over here, and he fire up on me to come at the fence before I even get the gate shut. And I can't get out of there. I'm trying to get him to stop it, and he's all wound up. Now, the layman, the general public would be butthurt about this. Why is this dog trying to come after me? I'm his owner. He shouldn't be showing me this. Bullshit. The hard wiring of that dog is innate. You can't get away from it, especially with breeds like this, or shepherds, or anything that's been bred for a job. Their hard wiring is going to be something that's innate. Try to go out with a Patterdale, some of those terriers, and stop them from doing what they've been hardwired and bred to do, right? That's why you see trainers that get into a dog like that, because it's the hard wiring they're learning and growing from, and that dog, terrier, is going to give you what a terrier does. And you trying to stop that is near nigh impossible. Right? You're not going to change the hard wiring of that dog. You can mold it, shape it, and get it to go different ways and work with it a little bit. But the challenge is that you've got a dog that's so strong in his instincts and his genetic drives, is what I call the genetic stamp. That's not even funny. Well, these guys are a lot like that. Whether you realize it or not, they've been thrown back to some dogs to give them more tenacity. The Iraqi war, I knew it for a fact for a long time. I didn't know it for a fact, but that was my theory, was that in that time period of war that we were over there in Iraq and Iraq, and that whole Middle Eastern war cycle that we had after 9/11, I knew that there had been some tweaks done in the breeding. And I was right. There was a podcast that Robert Corral did with a well-known trainer that established, placed a lot of dogs over in the sand, right? Over in the Middle East when all that was happening. He's one of the biggest trainers out there. He's very well known. I can't think of his name right now, and I don't even really need to give it to you. But bottom line, he was sitting there with the interview, and he said, I told him that I needed something with some more tenacity, more go juice. And they went out behind the barn and they started throwing some dogs together. And they came out with a dog that was just, and that's what we're starting to see now. It's starting to trickle into America. That's why I'm trying to tell you, these dogs are not for the general public. Good girl. You see how she popped up? You see, learn it fast. I love this dog. She's such a smarty little girl. So, same thing with Buddy. He's not doing it because he's mad at me. He's doing it because it's an innate instinct in the dog that's there. So I'm not going to get upset, mad at him doing that at me. I know I've got to put my training hat on and figure out some kind of pattern or routine that I can get the dog to do the job the way I want him to. What is that? I want him to go over and lay down and stay there until I get the gate shut and I start to walk away. Then he can do it. He's running that whole fence line. He's going into this real heavy. That's what I'm seeing in a 4-year-old Dutch Shepherd out of my breeding. That now I'm dealing with the opposite side. Instead of just the puppies, I'm dealing with the maturity of a dog that's been stuck in a kennel. He's all wound up like an 8-day clock, right? With a lot of go juice, right? Buddy's a hell of a dog. So that being the case, I'm talking about this because I want to, it makes me think of Bane as a good example. The dog's hardwiring, who they are is who they are. Right? You can't take that away from the dog. You have to just kind of go with it, go with the flow as far as Mother Nature and being good enough to understand it. Because what Bane's owner did was when he got nailed by Bane, he ended up getting a little bit butthurt because he didn't understand it, being upset. Man, this dog should love me, right? He should care about me. Why is he doing this to me? It's the hardwiring of the dog, right? And that relationship dynamic with the owner is very important. So back to Mace in Canada with that dog that has brought over. That dog nailed that guy and put him in the hospital. He ended up having to place him somewhere else. He needs the right owner because that dog's a good dog, but he is a Dutch Shepherd. He is all that and then some. So what do you got to do with a dog like that? You got to keep him busy, give him a job to do. Okay, and then understand what's going on to know that you can't just let a dog like that be a pet. He's not a pet. Bane's owner's, the last time he got bit, that was really substantial before I got the dog in for training and started to try to help him learn and grow, and he's still got Bane. But he's changed his whole relationship dynamic with him, and he manages him differently, right? The dog's not a pet. He was keeping him in the house and my little foo-foo, jumping on and sleeping with him on the bed and that kind of thing. And one morning he was in bed, and Bane got up excited to want to go outside and everything and jumped on the bed and he got a little frustrated. Get off the bed. And boom, Bane tore him up, right? Why? He had let his relationship dynamic slide to a point that became a problem. These dogs are just all that and then some. So because of that, it wasn't, as I always say, it's not the dog's fault. It's always the human's fault, guys. Your expertise, your ability, your skill level is very important. If you don't have that skill level, the dog like this dog is going to outmatch and you're going to have major problems, right? So he got upset after that, put the dog in a crate, and then storm around the house with an attitude and a lot of emotions coming. The dog doesn't understand that. So it takes the dog out of balance all the more. Because you're butthurt, right? You're upset. That dog should love me, okay? And which is only a natural reaction to somebody that didn't know any better, right? And so it is something you need to understand. I never let my dog feel my emotions in that area where I'm upset at the dog, and I try to, I don't know how to explain it, but it's a lot of emotional states of mind. The dog, remember what a dog's all about. Reading you and knowing what emotions. They're an emotional creature that reads everything around them emotionally. They know what you're thinking before you do it a lot of the time, right? So because of that, they will play on that. That's why we have a saying that I always talk about, struggle begets struggle. You get frustrated and upset and you start struggling with the dog, he knows he's got your number, right? You have to have the confidence and the ability to understand that your emotional states of mind transfer right into this dog. And his respect, his whole point of view in the world is based on what you give him in that respect. And they're not a stupid animal. You know, they're a dog that, they're an animal that relates to dog psychology. We're humans. We think and deal with our world in a totally different way. Our instincts and our drives are totally different than the dogs, right? But when you start to understand the hardwiring on a dog, you'll understand what's going on in that regard. Stabu, good girl, good. This will be a good session because all I'm doing is this one thing with her, and that's it, right? Good. This is her first introduction to Dabu. I'll bring out the box, and we'll start working on changing position with her with a box. Give me something to do, something to work with. She's a thinker. So all that emotional state of mind coming from Bane's owner, being hurt, being mentally upset, F the dog. Dogs don't understand that. They live in the now, okay? I live in the now. I don't live today, tomorrow. I don't live the next day. I live now. And that gives me peace because I've learned it from the dogs. All my life I've been in this world, right? There's times that I've been in kennels with 200 dogs in a kennel. So it gives me a little bit more edge on most trainers. That basically it's because I have that instinct that's in my gut that tells me what I need to know. It's instinct, right? Again, gut feeling of dog training. Crows coming over and saying hi to me this morning. They've figured out that I dropped food, so they'll be over here scrounging once I'm done with this. As soon as I leave, he'll go out and sit in a tree and wait for me to get done, and he'll come back and scrounge for the food that I've dropped on the ground, which is great. I like the crows. At Tina's place, I had a whole pack. I think you guys remember those videos. I was doing a bunch of videos on it. Nope. Not even on the table. Not even on the table unless I give it to you, little girl. You're not allowed to take dropping food. Good. Couché? Good. Good. So I'll get my pack of crows. This takes me time. They're wild animals and they don't trust anything because man has shot them and screwed with them so much that their genetic stamp says fear man, right? So it takes me time to break in. I had a whole, like I said, a whole, what do you call crows? I want to say pack, but it's not a pack of crows, a covey. Good. Mob, that's the word. Mob of crows. I had a whole mob of crows at Tina's place. Good. Nope. Nope. Good. I like the fact she wants the food. We're almost out of food. I was doing that. Nope. Nope. So we're going to try to get her to understand that she's got to be clocked, right? And she's smart, so she's figuring out communication baseboard's starting to come together, right? Good. Time level on that before I drop the food. Good. The behavior's not over until the pause and then praise, right? Good. In this case, I'm dropping food on the ground, which is her reward. All right, baby. We're done. We're done. Gonna play? She's looking. She knows. Good girl, Jezzie. Good girl. Good, Jezzie. Get it. Go. Oh, where'd it go? You didn't see it? Go find it. Go find it. Where's it at? Go find it. Good girl. Yeah. Good girl. Yeah. Good girl. Good girl. Just out. Good. Good. I see. Good. See if I can play with something just to play and see what I can get her to do for me with just toys. She's a toy monster. She likes her toys more than she does food. Jezzie, good, Jezzie. Get it. Same palm level, right? Good girl. Good. Yeah, go. Out. Good, yes. She's looking for that second one. So it'll cause a problem and we need to fix it where she's letting go too quick and that causes the chewy. So we'll worry about it when she gets her full set of teeth in. Jezzie, out. Yes, good girl, good, yeah, you go. We'll work more on the out, and then I'll fix that this behavior is causing. Good girl, good. Notice I'm keeping it in her mouth, and good girl, good, because I know she understands what's coming next. Not totally, but she's starting to put it together, right? Good, Jezzie, out. Yes, good, get it. Good girl, good, yes. Good, just good, yay, good. There you go. We need to do some frustrated recalls with you, baby. Maybe this weekend, if the Saturday comes and people come out to class, we'll see if I can get somebody to hold her and do some frustrated recalls, huh? Out. Get it. Good girl, Jezzie. Good, let's go. Come on, good girl, yeah, good. Oh, you almost threw it off. Good girl, good. Come on, Jess. Up. Good girl, good. Yeah. Good. Good girl. The reason I'm trying to do this, keep this prey alive a little longer, so she doesn't go into the chewy. Good, just out. Good, out. Good girl, get it, go, good girl. All right, Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training, getting close to Thanksgiving 2023. Be safe out there, guys. It's going to be a madhouse. Good girl. Talk to you later. Yep, we're done. You knock over my camera, you're a dead dog. Talk to you later.